What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is your review for Power Season 2, Episode 8. So, I know we a little late, but we're going to get caught up. We here. So, Tariq's trial starts off, and it's starting off a little rocky, the prosecution, they able to paint this picture of Tariq, and Davis is able to counter it. He even looks like he has a few of the jurors kind of amening him and giving him the little nod or whatever. And then the prosecution talks about this eyewitness tape. And Davis is like, wait a minute. What eyewitness tape are we talking about? Like, we don't know anything about a tape. And so she tells the judge, okay, yes, we do have a tape, but we didn't bring it up because, people have the tendency to die around Tariq, okay, disappear. And so we didn't want to give the defense too much of a head start. And, Davis is arguing all the legal points about unfair surprise, yada, yada, yada. And so the judge is like, listen, you have to let him hear the tape so he can prepare for, cross-examination. But your client can't hear it, right? Well, of course, so after this is over with, Tariq is out in the hallway, and his father's lawyer is there. And his father's lawyer lets him know that Jasmine is with a family and they want to adopt her, and that this is something that his father put in his will in the event that the whole family gets wiped out except for her, that she should be adopted by a good family. And I mean, on one hand, it's like, how did Ghost foresee all of this? But on the other hand, it's kind of like, I guess, why wouldn't he foresee all of this? You know what I'm saying? And so, of course, Tariq is like, my dad planned all of this out. And he was like, yeah, he planned all of this. So Davis lets Tariq know, listen, it ain't looking good, and I need to get paid. And Tariq is like, I'm going to get you. He was like, yeah, I'm saying I need my money, like, tomorrow before we go back into court, or you going to be having a public defender. Now, the reality is, that's just not how that shit works, but it's a show. We're going to roll with it, okay? Now, while this is going on, we see Monet rolling up on Diana, like, with Lorenzo and Drew. And she was like, I don't know, they don't tell me nothing. And she was like, listen, your daddy don't tell you nothing, but you and Drew, y'all are tight. So listen, I know lately, me and you ain't really been rocking. You haven't been the most upfront with me. So if we can maybe get on the same page, maybe I can learn to trust you again. Now, while she's having this conversation with Diana, her phone is blowing up. Mecca/Dante is calling her. She lies to Diana and says it is Zeke's, agent. But for whatever reason, Diana don't believe her. So she goes in the room to have a conversation with Dante. And Diana is listening. Now, from her side of the conversation, it doesn't sound like a lover. It doesn't sound like somebody that she's in a relationship with, cheating with. She was like, listen, stop calling me. Listen, I told you I don't play these games. You better leave me alone. I'm not that same little girl you used to know. So why Diana will automatically assume that this means her mama is having some sort of affair, child, I don't know. But as soon as Monet leaves the house, baby, she starts going through Monet's stuff. And in a Gucci box that looked like it might be 2 weeks old, she finds a Bible and a picture of Zeke when he was, this piece of hair, from when he was born. And again, I have to say, it's the Bible from the hospital, I guess, where she gave birth. Why is that in a shoebox in your closet? Like, you don't have a safe you could put that in. You don't have, like, a private, like, you clearly have been carrying this around for 20-something years. That's the best place you had to put it, is in a shoebox in your closet. Okay. So Diana calls the hospital and asks about the birth of Zeke, whatever his last name is. And she has the year wrong. She says 2003, and the hospital was like, not that year. Again, that's not how that works. You can't just randomly call the hospital and ask about somebody being born. That is not how this works. Okay? But neither here nor there. I guess she got some information, baby. We're going to get back to that later. So while this is going on, Lauren is at the DA's office with her mom, and the DA is letting her know, listen, you've got to testify, because that's what the judge also said, was that she had to testify. Letting them know that you got to testify. And she was like, why do I have to testify? Y'all have the tape. Because of course she don't want to testify in front of Tariq. But the lawyer's like, listen, this is what you have to do. And her parents, by this time, her parents have been called in. And her parents is like, listen, you got to do what you got to do, all right? You got yourself in this mess. And if you got to testify against the drug dealing boyfriend, oh well, that's what you got to do. Now, while this is going on, Effie and Braden was on a mission to go find some drugs because they, they out of drugs, they out of money, they don't have no connect. Course corrections, back orders are backing up. So they go to Braden's supplier, the guy that probably supplies the frat house with all of their, goodies for their parties and stuff. And they get ready to make the deal, but then Effie samples the coke and she's like, oh hell nah. She said that coke has been stepped on. It's been stepped on. Like, ain't nobody trying to do all of that. So they go back to Tariq and let Tariq know that the drugs are no good, and he's like, well, what we gonna do? He said, well, I got an idea, but we gonna need the Tejadas. Now, while they're sitting there cooking up this idea, Monet is talking to Kane, letting him know, listen, we don't have no product, we don't have no drugs, we don't have no money, and we gotta pay Davis, and we want to make sure that no fingers start getting pointed at you as it relates to this whole murder situation. So when Tariq calls, she answers because Kane is like, "Nah, we don't need him," and she was like, "Yeah, but we do." So she answers, and they get to talking. He comes up with a plan. They come up with they meet in this little private location, child, and they come up with this Ocean's 11. Shout out to TSF Entertainment because that's what we said. Some Ocean's 11 plan to rob Mecca and use GTG to do it. And, one of those everybody got a role type situation. Effie was pretending to be some girl in the building, and she got a security guard, locked her on the roof. And then Braden pretended to be, this, privileged ass white boy who, they cut the power. It was a whole lot going on, right? But it was one of those, again, Ocean 11 plans where everything had to move in a certain sequence and a certain rotation in order for it to be effective. You know how that goes, right? So while they doing all of that, Monet was like, I don't know if I'm trying to do this, Well, actually, no, Monet was on it. Kane was saying he didn't know if he wanted to do it because, of course, Kane knows who the connect is. And he was like, yo, Mecca will kill you as soon as look at you. Like, this probably ain't the best idea. And he was like, well, this is really all we got. So they realize that they'll have a whole lot of product, but they won't have any money. And so Kane was like, well, listen, I know a way we can kind of get a 2-for-1. If we got to rob, we might as well, go all the way. He said, well, we're going to need Drew. So they go to Drew, and Drew was like, hell nah. But they're able to get Drew on board by telling him that he could kill a Guap. Because remember, he was like, oh, I owe him one. So Drew was on board, but Drew was like, well, we got to keep Poppy and Diana busy because they going to get in the mix and they going to mess it up. So they get Tariq to call Diana to, come down and sit with him in court, knowing she going to run down there. And Monet has to keep her husband entertained, so they end up going down to Coney Island for the day, reminiscing on them days. I reminisce. See, I like how I did that. So, while this is going on, child, Davidson called Tariq down to his office to hear the tape. Now, he tells Tariq, I ain't supposed to let you hear this tape. I could go to, my business could be gone if I let you hear this tape. But then he conveniently gets up and leaves Tariq alone in his office with the tape. So Tariq listens to the tape and realizes that Lauren is the one that snitched him out. Now, what I found to be funny was when David said to him, who is it that could possibly have made a tape? And he really acted like he didn't know. He really was like, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine who would do this. I haven't been talking to anybody. Bro, you done told half of Manhattan that you killed these people. You have told half of Manhattan that you killed Jabari. It could have been any number of people, as far as what I want to know. So anyway, Sax is telling Tariq, listen, because he worried that Tariq gonna kill somebody, and he says, can you please make sure nothing happens? Please stay away from Lauren, and because he done slipped up that the professor had something to do with it too. And he was like, yeah, how am I supposed to do that? I literally have class with him in the morning. How am I keep away from him? So Sax is having sex with his girlfriend, the prosecuting attorney, and he ends up letting it slip that Tariq done seen the damn tape. So of course now she's in panic mode about the fact that Tariq done seen the tape, or listened to the tape, whatever. She's calling up to the school. Lauren isn't in class, but she's calling the professor. Tariq's in class, but Lauren isn't in class, and Lauren, Tariq realizes that Lauren ain't coming to class, and she gets up and she leaves. Um, Tariq gets up and leaves. Well, as soon as she sees Tariq get up and leave, she sees her phone keeps going off, so she goes to answer it. Finds out that the attorney is worried that Lauren could be in danger because Tariq knows about the tape. So of course she takes off to Lauren's dorm. Tariq is already gone, and she gets to Lauren's dorm, and Tariq is already in the dorm. And basically, Tariq lays a guilt trip on her, and he's like, "Listen, you're supposed to protect your students, and I can't believe that you would put your student in harm's way. Like you would leave your student open up to be hurt, to possibly some retaliation. Like the Tejadas, you've done this before. You were a prosecutor. You know how dangerous this is for her to testify. You need to do it yourself." Now again, makes no sense because she can't authenticate the tape, which is the whole purpose for Lauren to testify, because she's supposed to authenticate the tape. But okay, I'm just gonna let that go because that's what we do with the Power Show. We just let shit go that don't make sense. Now back over at the Tejada house, Monet and Lorenzo getting ready to go down to Coney Island, and Monet is calling. Diana was like, "Yo, Mom, we need to talk." And Monet does what she normally does, blows her off, tells her we'll talk later, and she talking about somewhere you going. And she said, "I'm going to Zeke's game." But of course, Monet knows she lying because they done already set her ass up. So next thing you know, Monet is in her room going through her shit. And she ends up finding condoms. So of course, she automatically assumes that means that Diane is having sex with Tariq. Now the reality is she is having sex with Tariq. But just because somebody have condoms do not mean they using them. But okay, whatever. All right. Okay. So Professor ends up convincing them to let her put her on the stand. And Davis is successful in turning the whole interrogation, the whole questioning around. He's able to move it away from the tape, away from anything dealing with the tape, and placing it squarely on the fact that Carrie is a hoe. Carrie done slept with all these men. Come to find out, she done slept with Davis. She slept with Jabari. She done slept with the head detective on the case. She done slept with Zeke. It doesn't make her look good. Now, in the reality of the situation, who she's sleeping with, it really ain't that big of a deal, except for the fact that you have slept with every person involved in this case, and so it puts your credibility into question. Are you lying to protect somebody? Are you lying to, look out for somebody in this case, right? And it ends up destroying her on the case and pretty much costing her job, because he was like, so basically, when your boss finds out that you were sleeping with a student, how you think that's gonna work out for you? So that wasn't a good day. That didn't turn out too good. Now while this is going on, child, they done robbed damn Mecca. Now Mecca and Chef seem to already be having some sort of tension. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was about. I'm feeling like they might have been fighting over Kane. I'm feeling like maybe the chef wasn't trusting Kane. Maybe think that Kane had too much power, too much availability or accessibility. But Mecca was basically telling the chef, "Mind your business, not mine. I got this. Don't you worry about it." I don't know. So the heist goes off. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I ain't about to get into all the particulars. It was a whole lot of moving parts. This person did this and this person did that. Drew was able to get into the apartment. He killed Guap, and he was able to get into the apartment, and he actually robbed them. He stole a bag that Mecca had a ring in it for Monet, and it had cash, and we found out later on it had a bunch of IDs and stuff in it. So Drew was happy because he was able to kill Guap. They get to the hangar where his big stash is, and Mecca is of course pissed off, trying to figure out, well, how did they know? And he's like, well, clearly somebody is a snitch. I got somebody working on the inside. Well, he ends up killing Chef because, which of course is a air of refreshness for Kane, because I think Kane thought it was about to be him. But again, I was like, he has to know. Like in my mind, I was like, he know Kane involved, but he can't kill Kane because of the play he's running on Monet. He can't kill Kane. So Tariq ends up paying Davis with the ring that and with the ring that Dante was gonna give Mary J. Blige. I'm sorry, Monet. And Davis even says, so I guess I gotta be very, discreet with how I get rid of this, right? So that night, here's where the shit get good, honey. That night in the Tejada house, honey, everybody's there. And they're talking about their day. And Lorenzo's talking about how much fun he had down at the, down to Coney Island with his bae. And they get to talking about what happened that day. And they basically end up calling out Diana and basically let it be known that Diana ass lied about going to Tariq's game. I mean, going to Zeke's game. Because, of course, Zeke was like, you were there? Really? And Diana was, so she gets mad at the fact that Kane and Drew done called her ass out and snitched on her in front of Lorenzo about her being up, having her nose wide open for Tariq. So now she decided she gonna snitch on the whole damn table. She snitched on Kane. She told that Kane was the one that stole their stash and replaced it with sugar. And of course, Monet had to pretend like she ain't know, even though she already knew, child. And then Diana done snitched on her mama. She done said something about her mama having an affair with some man named Dante. And Zeke was like, Dante? And Diana was like, yeah, Dante, your daddy. Oh, yeah, and by the way, you not 19, bro. You 23. What? Baby Monet tried to take that girl head off. Lorenzo was like, is this true? Is this true? And Monet was like, yeah, it's true. But, like, you don't understand. He was like, you need to go. So Monet asked and got put out the house. Zeke done ran off because he, like, damn, you my auntie, you my mama, you my auntie, you my mama. Diana is sitting there looking all smug. And the boys are looking like, what the fuck just happened? A whole hurricane done went down in this bitch. So later on that night, Monet is rolling around trying to call Zeke. He won't pick up the phone. So she ends up going by the professor's house thinking that that's where Zeke went. And she, professor got an email from her boss basically saying, yeah, come in a little early tomorrow. So she know that means she about to get fired. And she tells the professor, she said, listen, I know that as long as you're around, he ain't gonna never come to me. Later on that night, Zeke goes to the professor's house. He opens the door. Baby, she done offed herself. Okay, she is hanging from the rafters. Now, the question is, did Monet do it? We don't know. Now, while all of this is going on, Effie done let Tariq know that she catching feelings. Because, they was doing this whole friends with benefits thing. But, so, child, she done caught feelings, which, that's going to create a whole nother situation. Anyway, that was the episode. I'm going to go ahead and give y'all episode 9 in a little bit. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.